Right, mate. Let's let's do this, shall we?
Yeah, nothing happened.
Yeah. This has been a seamless transition from one room to the other. I'm just really gonna have to start utilizing frozen shooter a lot more here.
Yeah, I think caves, when you first get here, it's definitely a big step up in sort of the danger, particularly with things like the lilies and the assassins. They can catch you out quite easy if you're not used to them.
Especially like if you've come from sort of normal, hard and very hard, and then you come like up against your first set of lilies and you're like, okay, these aren't spitting poison anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the first time you walk into the room and one of them spits Megid at you, you think, oh, okay, things have changed.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I see what we're doing here. I'm noticing the XP is like creeping up a little bit now. Not horrendous, like it's not a point where I'm like, this is questionable. But it's definitely like we're not in Kansas anymore, you know, like this is getting slightly real.
Yeah, I think once you get to, honestly, probably about your level, honestly, you do start to notice the creep starts to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, for context for me now, I need just over 900,000 to level now.
Do you really? That is absolutely criminal.
And the sad thing is I know that's not even much. I'm not even halfway, so...
It is insane, isn't it? Like, because when you think about how quickly, realistically, if you've got a party, how quickly you fly through like 1 to 100.
Yeah.
Then to kind of get to this point, you think, oh, well, 200's like nothing really. And then
it's 100 again.
Yeah. And then you get to a point where you hit a wall, you think, okay. It's so weird because like I said to you before, like as much as I've had Ultimate for a while, like I've really not actually explored really any of like caves, mines, ruins just on their own. I guess it's just not the go-to thing because I'm always playing with people and we're always like hunting something. So it's not.
Yeah, it's kind of strange with PSO, honestly. I think because of how the game works, you quite often find that you just do quests a lot rather than actually like the free runs.
Well, it's the path of least resistance, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it is the best way to hunt things by far. But it is nice to just do a run through an area sometimes. You know, without any actual objective or anything. Just cool to sort of run through an area, get a feel for it as well.
Especially like, again, I suppose I'm only speaking on behalf of episode 1, but because there are quite a few little changes to the areas, you don't necessarily even touch some rooms depending on what quest you do. Like TTF, for example, like you'll never really see hardly any of the rooms that are available to you.
Yeah, I suppose with TTF it is a quest where you do want to do like a few rooms per area, I suppose.
Oh, fuck me, that was close. Excuse my French.
I suppose the downside with TTF is that you don't really get to experience the areas much because it is just like a quick run through.
Yeah, very much so.
So much, you don't really get to experience much else.
Yeah, I must admit, like even in the short time that I've been on the server, I'm very much at a point now where I'll only really do TTF if like I'm really not asked about what else we're doing or if we're just hanging out and want something like really linear to run through. But I don't ever get excited about running it. Like I enjoy the game thoroughly, but it is not something that I will get like up in arms about and be like, oh, this is something I really want to do, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, TTF, like it pretty much is the fastest way to level, at least early on anywhere.
Yeah.
And for hunting certain things, it's the best as well. So if you're hunting things like obviously Red Ring, it is the fastest way to get to faults.
Yeah, so, of course.
For things like that, I can understand running it, but it does get really, really old fast just spamming TTF constantly. So it's nice to run other things instead.
I guess, like, to me, initially when I first started playing again, because on the Dreamcast, I never really did anything like that. It was mainly, like, solo that I was, you know, running.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess, like, your first, like, dopamine hit of, like, oh, my God, I'm flying through these levels. Like, I'm getting new gear all the time really, really quickly. And then, after a while, you're like, I just cannot, like, watch someone just sit and spam like Rabata at the Sinnohs and leaving frost traps. You're like, I need to just do something else, like to retain my own sanity. It's got such a weird loop, this game. Like I've always said, like on paper, this is such a hard sell to anyone else. Like it's just in reality, like, it shouldn't be a fun game, but there's just something about it that just makes it like almost like an addiction. Well, I suppose it is, really, isn't it? It's like, I'm definitely going to get this time. I promise this will be the last one.
Yeah, I think particularly when you get to Ultimate and you do start hunting for things, then the red box addiction kicks in hard, and you kind of can't put the game down just because you want to keep going. Like, what if I get it in the next run? What if I get it in the next run?
I saw someone selling in the Affinia Discord earlier. I'm pretty sure it was a Psycho wand. It was like some sort of crazy stat Psycho wand. They wanted like nearly 1,100 PDs for it, and I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm pretty sure I traded like 6 or 7 PDs for this mag, and I was like, that's expensive. I was like, I had no idea. It's insane.
Yeah. So the rabbit hole goes really deep if you start getting into the really end game, stuff like that. Yeah, it's like, I mentioned it before, but there was a guy a while back who found a Viaya with, I think it was about 70 hit.
Oh, wow.
Which is ludicrous, because with the way the special works on Viaya, if you've got the money to fund it, it's one of the strongest weapons in the game.
Is it really?
And this guy, he just joined the game, I think within a couple of days, and I think he just got into very hard. It might have even been hard, I can't remember now. Found this Viaya and got about 900 PDs for it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a hell of a stack. That's insane. What is the most amount of hit that you can get on a weapon?
The most hit?
Yeah, what's the highest percentage?
You could find, if it was a special weapon, you could find it at 90 hit untech, so it would take up to 100.
Oh, wow.
But the chance of that is like microscopic.
Slim to none, yeah.
Yeah. I've never ever found one. In fact, I've never found a normal weapon with 90 hit either. No,
I mean, from what you guys were saying the other day, I totally forgot to even do it, but like even just checking the shop for certain things just completely passes my mind, because I just associate those weapons with like, oh well, they're not going to be half as good as what you're picking up now, you know, but I guess some of them are worth keeping an eye out for.
Yeah, I mean, for yourself, I probably wouldn't bother checking it too much until you get to about, I think it's just over 150, because at 150 they start selling like the top tier normal weapons.
Oh wow, okay.
Then you can look out for things like 50 hit charge Vulcans and things like that.
Oh, so it's not scaled with difficulty then, it scales on your level?
It's on your level, yeah.
Wow, okay, there you go, the more you know.
I think it does depend on the difficulty as well, so if you load like a normal game, I think you'll get terrible stuff in the shop. But if you're playing Ultimate, say if you're like level 100, you might get like maybe the 3rd or 4th tier of weapons, where if you're level 150, you might get the next tier.
Yeah.
Speaking of special weapons.
Isn't Last Survivor that like really, really janky looking sword?
Yeah, it just looks like a huge iron sword, basically.
Yeah.
It looks quite cool, actually, I think. But, yeah, not a particularly great weapon, unfortunately.
No. But hey, let the luck continue. I don't even know does anything really drop for us in this situation here?
I'm trying what section ID this game is now, I think.
Would it run under your section ID then if I kind of...
It might do. Not that anything happens.
No, yeah, I was going to say, how do we cover this up? We had some minor technical difficulties which were totally planned, is all I can say.
I know there is a command for it to look at the section ID. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so it's showing a skylight for me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So if that's the case, we're in a really good area, because Skylight Caves is really, really good.
I'm praying for something. I don't know what I'm praying for, but I'm praying for something.
So you can get things like Chainsword drops here.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I've seen you use that a few times actually.
So that drops here. Red Sword drops here as well.
I think I've got a red sword actually.
I think from the Red Lily you can get Sanga as well, which I think you might already have. It's a katana.
I'm pretty sure, not to sound like a massive seller, but I'm pretty sure you gave it to me.
I think we got one in a run, didn't we? Because the Red Lily showed up.
I'm pretty sure majority of the decent weapons I have, someone has gifted me at some point. I really don't want to. I don't want to like really kind of like, I don't know. I guess like call myself out there, but even this frozen shooter, I didn't earn myself.
It's normally the case on Affinia, I think, particularly when you're starting out as well. I think a lot of people will just give you stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because like to a lot of people, like they've got stuff, especially if they haven't got crazy hit and stuff on them or crazy attributes. It's just junk to them. It's just sitting around, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got tons of stuff in my bank that I know I'm never going to use, so it's stuff that I will just give out.
I couldn't believe your luck with that Flowers though, mate. That's insane. It's got like 35 hit or something stupid on it.
It's got 55.
55. That's just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and again, Tony, I'm watching. I did not find this. A random viewer on one of my streams just gave me it. I tried to sort of give him stuff for it. I will stress that I didn't just take it.
Yeah, I know. I always feel terrible. I'm gonna get megged.
Yeah.
Oh! I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Oh God, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
Was that a bit close?
That was like that pretty much, without sounding crude, that skimmed my bum. I'm glad the hitboxes on this game are kind of scuffed because that pretty much touched like my little ranger backpack that I've got.
Yeah, the lilies here are really fun, especially if you get the rare one, because the rare one, I don't know if it's like a bug with the game or something, but it has like a random level megad, and if it spawns with a really high level one, it gives all the ob lilies in the same spawn, the same level.
No, that's not good. I don't enjoy that. It's amazing, like, because I've obviously just come from playing my Hue cast a little bit, which is only in hard currently, and just sort of trying to get as many levels as I can, but like the enemies are so slow compared to ultimate. You come in here and they're all on like speed or something, I swear, like they're so fast.
It's like a different game, isn't it, really?
It's totally different, mate. Yeah, completely. It's night and day difference, that's for sure.
So I know you mentioned your HuCast in hard. So did you remake your HuCast or something?
I did, yeah. I was kind of like tossing and turning on the idea of, I have no idea where we're going, by the way. I was like, I know people can make lobbies and all that sort of stuff. You shouldn't really care too much about your section ID, but I just couldn't walk around with a serious face knowing that I had a HuCast on a pinghole ID. I was just like, if I want to be taken seriously as a person in general, then I should probably change this. But
I was wondering if it was because of the section ID.
It was, yeah. And to be fair though, I've now got a new HuCast with like a really kind of cool color on Skylight called Deployable, which makes sense for the name and also the fact that, you know, deployable robots, transformers, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, he's kind of like my like role play HuCast, I guess.
And you know, Skylight.
Yeah, exactly.
ID,
see,
yeah.
see, plug in. Right, what's behind me? Oh, nano dragons. Okay, it's interesting that these guys don't change very much. I think I've said that before, but we still we still look the same old.
Yeah, you get certain enemies that just don't really change at all, which is really odd. Oh, red box.
Oh, go on.
I think it's a red slicer. I think
it is a red slicer. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Do you need a red slicer?
I don't think I've ever had one, to be honest. I'm currently using the Disc of a Braveman.
Okay. So I mean, Disc of a Braveman hit is probably honestly a better weapon, but red slicers, it's another rare. It's still pretty decent, honestly. I can give you this one because I've already got one anyway.
I mean, mate, if you're not going to use it, then I will gladly take it off your hands, but I don't expect it for nothing. Thank you very much for that. That's very kind of you.
No worries. Nice to get one, actually. I haven't had one of them drop for a little while.
Has the lighting changed in caves? Because the actual scenery hasn't, has it? Is it like the floor and stuff that looks a little bit different?
Yeah, I think the texture on like the floor and things might be a bit different, but I think the lighting is definitely different. It seems like more yellowy here to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that. It's almost like the lava is like reflecting the light off of the floor.
Yeah.
I'm desperately trying not to get negative here.
Subtle. Yeah, I think it's a much more subtle change than forest for sure, but I think it does look better than regular caves.
I like the soundtrack here. The soundtrack's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's never been one of my favourite themes in the game by any means, but I do feel like it suits the area.
It definitely does, yeah.
It's got this like ominous undertone to it.
Yeah, I think like one of the reasons why I like it is you come out of forest where it's very like melodical, like this is fine, like this is like clearly the beginning level of the game. And then you go into caves and you hear this and you're like, oh fuck, like I'm really in for it now. Like, this is gonna suck these sharks that can walk. Like, it's not good.
It's like even the plants are starting to attack me.
I know, yeah. I'm getting absolutely beat to death by these things because I'm not being knocked over.
Yeah, it's a problem with multiplayer. If you get blocked in, you just get beaten up until you die. Just like no grace window at all. You just keep taking hits.
No, honestly, when we were doing Lost Soul Blade yesterday, and all those Sinnohs dropped and just like absolutely pulverized me, like I was just getting smashed about left, right, and center.
Yeah, the Sinnohs are kind of like renowned for it, really. They're horrendous, the Sinnohs, because I've mentioned it before, but the way that gelling works, you kind of can't use gelling on them once you get to a certain level because they will just beat you to death until you die.
Yeah.
Which makes them really irritating to deal with, especially if you've got a party that's like quite spread out in levels as well, because the lower levels will want them gelling in to weaken them, but the higher levels will just get killed by them.
Like, I can't remember who it was that we were running with last night. I'm pretty sure there was one person that was getting like one shot by like Sinnohs and trap. It must have been a force or something, but it looked pretty nasty to be in that situation.
Yeah, there's certain things in the game that are just designed to just screw over people with like either really low health or really high health. So, example of the high health would be again in Soul Blade when we were fighting the Barons in the second block.
Oh yeah.
They for me, because the missiles don't knock me over anymore. If the armor platings come off the Barons and they shoot loads of missiles, I just die if I get hit.
As it's just like a multi-burst, basically.
Yeah, it just more or less instant kills me just because I just take all the missiles at once.
Yeah, that
so I don't
sucks.
actually fall over.
I'm starting to notice though that, because I guess when I first started playing this game, like, because it's not like a traditional like MMO where everyone's got a class and stuff to play. Like, it is very much more like a you see it very much surface level, like a hack and slash. But I'm very much seeing it now that like my class has got like a certain role to play, like especially when you start to get weapons that have got paralyze or like frozen shooter, for example. Like you're very much less like the designated heavy hitter, you know. You're more just the sort of person that will like crowd control and that sort of thing.
Yeah, there is definitely a sort of role bias for each class, I think. I mean, you know, with Uniworld, I've mentioned it before, but you kind of like, yes, you are a hunter, you are there to do the majority of the damage, but you are also there as like a support as well if the party doesn't have anything else, like a force. So I do really like that about PSO, though, that every class is quite unique and has like their own specialty where they're best at and where they fit into the party.
Because I assume that's not the case for like later entries. I know PSU has got it to an extent. I don't really know about PSO2 though. I can't really comment. You're probably the man for that, over and above me.
Honestly, I think for the later games like PSO2 and NGS, a lot of the classes just feel like a DPS class in different varieties of DPS.
Right.
But there are some kind of support classes. So I mean, in NGS you do have the Tekka class or Tekta, which that's like the only class that can cast Shifter and D-Band, so that obviously helps. But at the end of the day, when you're not doing Shifter and D-Band, you are still just whacking stuff and doing DPS.
Right. Okay. Do you think they again, I'm not talking smack about the game because I don't really know it, but do you think they deliberately kind of toned that class specific gameplay down a little bit just to make it a bit more accessible, or is it like something that's just happened as a byproduct of making the game?
I think for NGS in particular, I think a lot of it's just a holdover from PSO2 because the game does feel like it is built on PSO2 to an extent. I mean, it's not to say they haven't got rid of the class-specific things. So for Rangers in particular, for example, they have a skill called, I think in the Japanese version it was called Weak Bullet. I forget what it's called now. It's something like Blight Rounds, I think.
Right.
Which it basically weakens whatever part the enemy is shooting at, so they take more damage.
Okay.
So Rangers, they're kind of a support in that way, I guess. But there's nothing like PSO where you're not going to have anyone who's like paralyzing all the enemies and everything.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me. I've got my Photon Blast, by the way, before I accidentally use this.
I'm at 88 at the minute, so...
Okay. I'll hold off for a
not
sec.
too far off.
I'll hold off. I'll try. I'm making absolutely zero promises, though, because the amount of times that I just fat finger something is unbelievable.
we all do it in PSO.
Oh, it's just,
I do it
there's
all the time.
nothing funnier though than like completely out of context photon blast to me. Like, it's so funny. I love the fact that it just pauses the game for everyone pretty much within the vicinity, and then you're just forced to watch this pointless photon blast. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, especially if you're just doing something really mundane, like, oh, I'm just opening a box.
Yeah, yeah. Or waiting for Rappies to get back up.
But yeah, I'm going to call down, like, lasers from the sky to open this box.
Oh, dear. I actually saw for the first time, I'm pretty sure it was when we were in a party, or it might have been someone else actually I was grouping with, just a random, but I saw that there was a healing photon blast as well.
Yes, there is, yeah.
Which I had no idea about.
Used, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly,
Yeah,
I'd never seen it before.
As far as I know, I think it heals your health, and I think it heals anyone who's in the photon blast chain or anyone that boosts it. I believe it might be able to revive people if you're dead and boost, because I think you can actually boost it while you're dead.
Oh wow, that's
I could be
awesome.
wrong on that though. But yeah, it's very rarely used, honestly. You'll tend
I was going to say, I've barely seen. That's the first time I've seen it. Yeah, yeah. I tend to see the same culprits that everyone normally uses.
Yeah, it's basically normally Estella, Pillar, Malarnula. It is nice to have one of the others sometimes, though, because if you're in a full party and everyone's got the same 3 photon blast, then you're not going to be able to do a full play chain.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah, I never even considered that.
Speaking of photon blast, I am almost at 100.
Okay, I'm surprised nothing's been pressed up until this point.
I'm now at 100.
Okay, well, we can use it whenever you want, mate. I've got twins on this mag if you want me to use that, or whatever works.
Yeah, if you want to use twins, I'll use Fowler for the memes.
Okay, you want to do it now?
Yeah, can do, yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Holy fuck, we did it successfully. Holy.
Yeah, actually did it.
It makes me nervous when 4 people are doing it, because I'm like, there's no way this is going to go well.
Hattie is Fowler.
Just keeping the trend going. I hate these slimes, mate. They're the worst enemy in the game for me in terms of just their design. They're just bloody pointless.
The whole idea with these is just to slow you down. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's got to be. I appreciate there's far worse enemies in the game. Like, I've come to terms with that, but of course, only I could do that. Only I could pop Resta there and then get hit by a trap. Bloody traps everywhere. It's the only benefit, well, major benefit to being a cast.
Yes, it is really nice having the trap vision. I suppose not getting paralyzed by the lilies constantly is quite nice.
Yeah,
as well.
that's true. Yeah, because the HP side of things, you actually never notice, do you really? Because you never really stood still, I guess.
Yeah, the regen just like a little bonus, really. You're never really going to use it much, but it's there.
I suppose it's the same as TP regen on one. I can't remember which Force character gets it.
It's any Newman characters, so Huni will get it as well.
Oh wow, okay, that's quite cool. So what's the deal with the Huni well then? Is it because I guess you sacrifice some ATP, do you, on the basis that you have techniques and okay, I thought as much.
Yeah, so I basically I've got level 20 tech, so really, really decent for support.
Wow.
That trap did a ton of damage.
I was going to say, I just got hit by a bus. My God.
So yeah, you get a level 20 text, which is really nice, and you have like the highest mental strength, so you can kind of use offensive text on certain things and do reasonable damage. But the downside is that you do have the least attack power of all the hunters. You also have the lowest health as well.
Right, okay.
But to be honest, it's not a big deal. I kind of find that the attack power is not a big problem because you have level 20 shifter anyway, and level 20 Zalor, so that covers a lot of the issues with damage anywhere.
Yeah. I often find, and again, like, I've not played this near half as much as you guys, but I often find that when you're in the mix of absolutely everyone smacking the living daylights out of everything, the damage numbers are so unreadable that it's just like, it doesn't really matter if someone's putting 50 or to 100 more damage in than me, because you can't often see what's going on anyway.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the difference between them's not huge. I mean, something like a Hue cast will, in a party with a force, will do far, far more damage than I can do with the Hunuel.
Yeah.
But as a Hunuel, I do enough damage. And that's
Yeah,
fine
yeah,
for me.
to make it viable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose in many ways, though, as much as, you know, paired with a force, a Hue cast, for example, does hit like a truck, but the versatility that a Hunuel can bring over and above just a Hue cast on their own is something that you'd, I guess, rather have in the party anyway, right?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I suppose the big advantage of a cast is the fact you've got the traps as well.
Yeah.
You know, things like the freeze traps are obviously a huge benefit. But so is the support technique, so they both have their own advantages and disadvantages, really.
Screw these guys, man.
There are so many traps in this run.
I think we just double hit that.
Possibly, yeah.
Can that happen? Wait, if I freeze it, can we... Wow, okay. Is that normal? If I freeze it, can we multi-hit those things?
You can sometimes, yeah. The only downside with freezing them in multiplayer is occasionally the game desyncs a bit, and what'll happen is it'll be frozen on your screen and you can hit it, but on my screen it might still be as like the puddle.
That's so odd.
It'll be frozen.
Okay, I'll be mindful of that.
So, yeah, it's just a weird thing with PSO multiplayer.
Are you telling me that PSO does not run as intended? How very dare you?
It may not run at 100% at all the time.
Which we definitely did not experience when I first loaded the game. But that was less PSO related and more me just being a 30-year-old bald man that can't work a computer.
Again, just to stress, nothing happened.
Yeah. You're like, shut up. Nothing happened. I love this zone. This area, this room is amazing.
I really, really like caves too, in all the difficulties, honestly. This room in particular, though, I think is one that everyone will remember because it's the only room like this in the whole run.
It's like every YouTube thumbnail ever.
Yeah. I think as well, if you've done the Soul Eater side quests, you have to go through this area before you fight Kirik in caves. So
yeah.
I kind of remember it for that as well.
I'm pretty sure. What's the quest where you have to escort the bride to be? Doesn't she stop here as well?
I believe she does, yeah. That is the Lost Bride, I think.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she says, "Get me to the waterfall" or something like that.
Yeah, it's in quite a lot of the cave quests. It seems to be like a common stopping point for the quests. I guess because it's one of the more scenic rooms in caves.
Yeah.
But I have always really, really liked the difference between going from cave 1, like the really volcanic area, into here. It's honestly a really pretty area. I know the game is like 20-year-old and doesn't look great now, but I still really like how this area looks.
Yeah, but do you know what? Like, and I guess people could argue that you're just blinded by nostalgia, but like even when I play games like Final Fantasy 14 or Lord of the Rings Online, like most MMOs and like JRPGs and stuff, they're not like always stereotypically the best looking games, but I feel like because there's so much like rich detail like environmentally built into them, I feel like that really gives it a sense of character. And honestly, like, I don't know if it's because I just grew up in a different generation, but graphics to me now, unless they are absolutely categorically terrible, they don't really alter the experience for me at all.
That is a lot of lilies.
That is, yeah, there you go. That was about to happen. It was going to happen once, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I like to be the guinea pig for these things.
Nope.
I like how I went in there and I was like, don't worry, I've got you, bro. And you're just chilling behind this door. You're level 175 and you're hiding behind a door. Like, you should be in there.
It doesn't help me against Megate.
You know, it's not until you're faced with a room full of 6 lilies that you soon realise who your friends actually are.
Yeah, it's like you don't know what true fear is until you come into a room like this.
No, this is like, you know when you go for like one of them horrible job interviews and there's like 5 people sat around a desk?
Yeah.
This is what this is, this room.
Well, I'll spit in Megate at you.
Yeah, but like, and all the lilies are like, right, so tell me about yourself. What can you bring to the company? I don't know, I just want a job, I want money. Just leave me alone. That always used to bother me, actually. Just on a complete tangent. When you go for an interview, so what do you want from this job? Like money, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't. What kind of question even is that? Yeah, I would like the ability to pay my bills, please, thank you. I hope you've got an idea of where we're going, because I do not have a clue.
Well, I guess it's not that way.
No, definitely not.
That's the problem with caves, is that it is like a bit of a maze. So I know earlier on you mentioned Lord of the Rings Online. How did you actually get into that in the first place?
So Lord of the Rings Online, it stemmed back from, it's going to sound like 15 years ago. No, like I basically, when I was in school, weirdly enough, this is going to sound like incredibly like below the belt for anyone that doesn't understand what I'm about to say, but I had a music teacher that when I was at school was like really quite like hip and quite like just cool, really.
Okay.
And he took like a week off sick, and everyone thought it was super weird because he like never misses school. He was almost like the Jack Black of like our school. It was like he was really, really cool. And anyway, we came back and we were like, oh, like I hope you're okay and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like everything's fine. And then a couple of my mates were talking about this new game they were playing, and he overheard them, and he was like, you guys playing Lord of the Rings Online? And he was like, they were like, yeah, so why? And he was like, oh mate, like I've just started a Hobbit, like I'm level 33, I'm questing the Shire, and at the time like the films were just like everything I've ever wanted and more. And at the time I just couldn't, like the resources we had for PCs back then were just terrible, like we couldn't afford it, and I kind of forgot about it. And then like literally like a year or two ago I just sort of picked it up and started playing it, and it's rough around the edge. I would say graphically, honestly, it might sound like a really crazy take, but I really don't think PSO is that far off graphically what Lotro is, to be fair, which is scary to say. But it's just different. I feel like as much as I love Final Fantasy 14, I feel like Lord of the Rings Online serves a very, very different purpose. It's a lot slower pace. There's a lot more reward for exploration. Like the leveling system, like similar to PSO, the grind is huge. You know, you're not just like, I feel like nowadays most games are like an instant dopamine hit, aren't they? They're like, like you're going to play and then you can get to like realistic. If I went on Final Fantasy 14, I reckon I could probably grind a character from base level to at least 60 to 70 in one day, easily.
In one day?
Yeah, in one day, easily. But yeah, like those games back then, it was just more like, I guess if you're not a massive Tolkien fan or a massive Lord of the Rings fan, it's a really, really hard sell, because it is about immersing yourself in that sort of like world. I've just cured my paralysis and just got it straight away again. So I think the sell for me was the fact that I could be in that universe and like hanging out with Gandalf and the boys and that sort of thing. And I guess I just touch base with it now like every few months, and it's never going to be like my main MMO like 14 is. But I don't know, there's something like relaxing about playing it.
So it's actually still going then online?
It's still online, mate. Yeah, it's still on the official server. It's still, I'm pretty sure like the patch updates, I don't know what patch we're on now, it's something ridiculous, but there's been like an absolute abundance of expansions, and the level cap is now like 140. Completely free to play up until level 90, which is like a huge free trial. This is not sponsored, by the way. And then you can just pay for like, if you want to extend that and you want to unlock everything, you can then subscribe if you want to, like with normal traditional membership. But yeah, it's still supported to this day.
That's crazy. There seems to be a couple of games like that that seem to have just unnecessarily long lifespans for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, WoW is the obvious one. I know WoW is still getting supported and still has tons of players. But
which I've never understood. Never understood that, because like so me and my brother, who like, I mean, we don't play so much anymore, but we tried both WoW Retail and WoW Classic, and I just couldn't get over the art style and stuff for it. And I know I just said that graphics aren't everything, but I couldn't get immersed in that world. I was like, how are so many people playing this game? Especially when every quest was like, kill 3 pigs, kill 3 squirrels, go back and put the squirrels on the pigs. And I'm like, oh, like who is doing this?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I tried it very, very briefly, and like yourself, I just couldn't get into it at all.
Yeah, the thing is, I'd seen all of the box art and the cinematics and stuff, and I was really sold on what Blizzard were doing with the cinematics. I was like, wow, like this looks really cool. But then it's like the classic story where like someone goes out and meets a girl at a bar, and then they go home together and all that sort of stuff, and the next morning they're like, wow, what have I done? It's like you finish the cutscene and you go into the game and you're like, okay, this does not look like the cutscene at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Immersion's big for me. I like big, like expansive worlds, and which is ironic because I play PSO, which is based upon small little levels put together. But
Yeah.
you know where I'm going with this. I think what attracted me to Final Fantasy XIV, not to make it all about that, but was I really liked the high fantasy of PSO and the expansive world of Lotro. So I just kind of, that was like a halfway house to me, and I've always liked Final Fantasy, as you well know anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's just a mix, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's the nice thing is, to be honest, I was never super sold on a lot of MMOs, like we just said, because a lot of them feel quite, as much as they're big, they're also a bit soulless. Whereas that kind of, you can just make it single player until you want to actually play with someone.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Have you actually, I suppose, I guess, can you class NGS as an MMO? Is that a thing these days? Is it more MMO than it is JRPG?
I'd probably say it's like an online RPG, to be honest. I don't really feel like it has a player base to be an MMO, but...
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I suppose what defines an MMO these days, really?
I mean, for myself, I mean, the only MMOs I've really put any time into at all was, I think I mentioned it before, but I did unfortunately play Final Fantasy XIV 1.0.
1.0, wow.
So, yeah, that was fun.
And then you've been scared off ever since.
To be fair, at least I have gone back and I am attempting to try it again.
The thing is,
after some encouragement.
What worries me is because you also see what I see in this game, which I do think that if you tried 14 and got into, if you can get into like a collective group, I know like Shenton plays it as well, and I feel like if there was like a collective of, if anyone's watching this video that watches the channels regularly and you want to join in, I feel like you'd have such a blast, mate. I feel like it's a nice break from just running PSO. You know, your PSO will probably still always be your main game, but just to have that little tag along that you can just like relax and have fun in, it is such a time sink, but it's so rewarding as well.
I mean, I think I would like to play a bit more, just having time to do it at the minute.
Yeah.
It's not to say it'd be a game I play on stream or anything necessarily, it's just, it could be something I play just with some of my community off stream sometimes. I think apart from FF14, the only MMOs I've really put any time into is, I used to play a little bit of Lineage 2 years ago.
Yeah, I've heard about Lineage. I've never ever played it, but I've heard good things about it.
It was alright. It was fun to play if you had other people, like if you had a clan to play with. But my god, is it a grindy game?
Well, it's almost a shame that you've left behind grindy games in favour of someone else.
Yeah. Lineage was ridiculous. Like you'd spend hours and hours in one dungeon and you get like a couple of % experience if you're lucky.
Yeah, I have heard. Again, I've not had any first-hand experience, but I have heard it's rough. Was there not? It might have been that game or something else, but was there a mechanic in that when you died you lost XP, or was that a different game?
Yeah, so you did. So
I thought as much.
Hours grinding that 3% experience, then you die and lose it all.
Yeah, no, that's just savage.
I did also play a little bit of the original Guild Wars.
Yeah, cool. Guild Wars 1, yeah.
I love Guild Wars, actually. I thought it was a really, really cool game.
That was much more of a sort of, I guess you could say, not necessarily solo, but it was much more of an RPG than an MMO, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I really had a good time with that. I didn't play any of the expansions. I only played like the initial release. But yeah, I had a really good time with it.
I'm pretty sure Guild Wars 1, when I played it, actually, you couldn't jump, could you?
I'm trying to remember now.
I don't think you could. I think it's Guild Wars 2 that you could jump in. And I've always had
It's been
this.
so long since
I've always had
played
this thing. I know it sounds ridiculous because I play PSO, but it always like winds me up when like MMOs like you can't jump. It's such a basic thing to put in a game. Like it just really frustrates me. Yeah, I played. I think the first true experience I ever had with any MMO was actually on my neighbour's computer. I played Ultima Online.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, you look back at that game now, and I look at that and think, how, why, who, why have I done this? Oh, level 200. Congrats. Nice little banner there.
Yeah, not me, unfortunately.
No, I'm just stuck here at level 124, just slogging my life away. Every time you come on this game to like, if you're just focusing on XP, it just feels like you're clocking in, doesn't it? It feels like you're just clocking in for a shift.
It's like, well, back to the mines again.
Yeah, literally. It's a good shift though.
It is.
So, because one thing I did want to ask you actually, just out of curiosity, because obviously I was watching you play Monster Hunter on stream the other night. But is World your first experience with Monster Hunter, or did you play previously?
Sort of. So, the first Monster Hunter I tried was I played the demo of Freedom Unite on the PSP, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that was just down to just honestly trying to play on a PSP. I did not enjoy playing on that console.
No.
I just find it really uncomfortable to use. So I didn't bother with that. World was the first actual main entry that I tried. I have gone back and played a couple of others since, but I haven't really played any of the really old ones. But I have put a ton of time into World.
How many hours have you got in it?
I think I'm at about somewhere between 12 and 1300.
Really?
Yeah.
That's some decent going, that.
Yeah, it's probably the game I've played the most apart from PSO. Which is saying a lot.
No, well, again, I can understand that because as much as they are different, they're very much like the same thing with a different coat of paint, aren't they, truthfully?
Yeah.
Probably the closest thing to a modern day version of PSO that you're going to get, really.
There is definitely similarities in the way they work. You essentially farm the monsters for rare parts to make gear.
I suppose it's just the same cycle, but just laid out slightly differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you when you were playing. You were like climbing all over the monsters, like hitting their shoulders. And I thought, imagine if you did that on PS. Imagine if I could just jump off the raft and just land on Derole and just start like smacking his back and stuff like that. It's just wild. I was like, what is this unhinged gameplay I'm watching here? I don't think this is the right way, mate. I can't lie. I'm about to get flattened. Oh, the switch is right there. Wow, we are clearly not paying attention here.
Professional gamers, by the way.
Yeah. Play this all the time. All the time.
Yeah. To be fair, I think I do that every time I do this caves pattern, so... Yeah, I do really like how the combat works in Monster Hunter, so, I like the freedom that you've got where you can... I mean, the jumping on the monsters is kind of... It's only a thing in World where you can actually grapple onto them and like flinch them into walls. But for quite a few of the games, there's been the feature where you can like ride on their backs and then knock them down. I just think it's a really cool idea.
Well, it definitely keeps things a bit fresh because I did notice that the mobility is, well, depending on what weapon you're using, the mobility seems to vary so drastically.
Oh, it does, yeah. So I think when you watched me, I was playing Lance for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think you did. You did bowgun, lance, and I'm pretty sure you used a glaive or something at some point.
Yeah, I used insect glaive, yeah.
That's it, yeah. That's wild, that weapon.
Yeah, I think insect glaive is probably my favourite weapon in Monster Hunter. I love the mobility of it, and I really like the moveset as well. And it's basically a double saber.
Oh, I suppose it is, yeah.
I'm not saying that's why I picked it or anything, but
no, of course not. not putting two and two together there at all.
Yeah.
I need to go about getting on these teams that you guys are in because I feel like I'm the odd one out here. Everyone's changing their outfit, getting cool rewards. I'm just tagging along like some sort of common peasant.
Yeah, it's really weird. So for some reason they only did that in Blue Burst. So if you played on, I'd imagine on Dreamcast, I'm not sure if it was a thing on there, but I know on GameCube definitely. all you had to do to change outfit was you just had to have, I think it was 10,000 Mazetta on your character, and you could just change it for money.
Oh, that's cool.
But in Blue Burst, for some reason, they decided, no, you have to be a member of a team now.
Such a weird decision. Like, such an oddly specific thing to do.
I guess, I don't know, maybe they were thinking, right, we need some kind of incentive for people to join teams.
Balls.
So what we'll do is we'll take away some of the features that you could do before.
All right, do you know what? You go first. You go first. I'll heal you.
I love that, and it was the wrong way.
I know, yeah, shock.
This is why I hate Caves 3. I love Cave 1 and 2, but Cave 3 I hate. It's one of my least favourite areas.
Yeah, it's so convoluted, isn't it? There's so many different areas and pathways, especially with these traps and stuff here, that you kind of feel like you've got to make like a split decision to get through. Oh, no, okay, it's not this way either.
Right, there is another door through here, but I have no idea if it's the right way. I can never remember the right route in this place.
We're about to find out, mate. We're about to find out. What you got planned for the rest of the evening? You up to much?
So I think potentially maybe play a bit of NGS.
Nice.
There's just been a new update for it recently, so it's added a new area to the game, which is pretty cool. So actually having a little bit of fun with NGS, which is nice. It's been a bit iffy for the last few months, honestly.
Yeah, you
NGS,
said it's been a bit stale, haven't you? Really, it's been a bit sort of hit and miss.
Yeah, I feel like the last month or so it has improved. So there was like a new big boss that they added, which was cool. This also isn't the right way.
Oh my lord, what is happening?
So they had this big new boss, which was a really cool fight, and now there's a new area as well. So I do feel like we are getting better. There is still some problems with the game though that I would like to see ironed out.
I saw you shared this. Is it a new Monster Hunter that's coming?
Yeah, so Monster Hunter Wilds.
That's it.
So that's coming out. I think so far they've just said 2025.
That looks really cool.
I think on the day of recording this, there is the Summer Games Fest there in the day, and they are showing another video there as well. So maybe they'll give us a release date, possibly, but I don't expect one yet, to be honest.
No.
But I will be playing the hell out of that game.
Yeah, I can imagine PSU is going to take, PSO, definitely PSU, but PSO is going to take a bit of a back foot, I can imagine.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I will still be clocking into PSO because I cannot leave this game, but...
Very hard. Once you're in it, there's nothing quite... I've got my photon blast, apparently.
Yeah, I've almost got mine.
Just out of curiosity, how many of those dances have you watched since I sent one to you? And for anyone that's watching this completely out of context, it's not what you think it is. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, he has not been sending me weird videos. well, he has, but not what you think.
Mate, it's my whole YouTube Shorts feed. I'm not even kidding. Like, after I'd sent it to you, the next 4 of them were all the same.
So I've actually only watched the ones that you sent me. I refuse to go and watch any more because I do not want my YouTube to just get completely destroyed by these videos.
It's an absolute rabbit hole that I'm stuck in this vortex of like, brilliant. There you go. Fantastic. Yeah, it's not good. I'm just trapped in this like anime, like Japanese fucked up world of really strange people dancing all the time. I'm kind of here for it. Like, it's kind of like out of context. I kind of want people to kind of understand and discover what I'm talking about without me actually telling them. But
yeah.
It's like the weirdest 15 seconds of your life. That doesn't sound any bad. Don't say that. It's the weirdest, shortest amount of time that you'll ever experience on the internet, and it's so random because whatever they're doing, they do it for that 15 seconds, and then it just cuts and they just go back to normal life. It's so odd. It's like someone's like programming them or something.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I watched that you sent. It was, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were talented dancers, I'll give them that, but it was just weird that they just kind of danced for a few seconds and then just stopped. And
I almost feel like commenting like, just like blink twice if you're okay or something, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, blink if you need help. Did you say you've got your photon blast or you haven't?
Yeah, I've just got it, yeah.
Okay, do you want to do it now?
Yeah, can do.
All right, I'll use twins again. 3, 2, 1.
It's so weird doing that because there's a little bit of a delay between Discord and the game.
I know.
So when you're saying
I'm always
three,
like,
two, one,
I'm always like so nervous.
I think you're on about 2 and the Photon Blast went on my screen. So
Fuck.
it's like, wait a minute. We did it though.
I'm actually proud of us. We're not missed. And more importantly, I'm proud of me for not actually popping mine too early.
I am quite disappointed that none of these have dropped the chainsaw yet, because that would be pretty cool for your HuCast.
Yeah, I'd be looking forward to using that for sure. That's if it ever gets out of the depths of hard and very hard. I might just abandon it there forever. It's just, honestly, it's just the most insatiable journey if you've not got anyone to run with. It's just so painful.
I've actually found the boss. I can't believe it.
I know, I know. This video, by the way, for anyone watching this, we actually got into Caves 3 at 20 minutes of recording. It's just taken us half an hour to find the boss room. This guy's first attack, catches me off guard so many times when he launches these. I dodged it.
Now.
I just dodged it. I'm so good at this game.
So this guy, I always thought he was a bit of a disappointment because he is so similar to regular Ragol.
Yeah, there's not really an awful lot of creativity gone in there. Especially like the Seal Dragon as well. I think the Seal Dragon's such a great rendition of the dragon.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Seal Dragon, there's obviously a huge difference, you know, use a completely different element. The arena is totally different. This, I feel, there are differences in the arena. It looks generally kind of disgusting. But it's not a massive change, really. It is quite subtle compared to the dragon.
I'll just crit him then.
I also find it's still really weird that he still does the thing where he jumps on the raft and just lets you kill him.
Yeah. It's like he's not learnt his lesson.
Yeah. It's like, maybe this time it will work.
At least with Barbaret, it's a bit more of a full-on kind of fight. There's a bit more to it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm about to get destroyed. Oh no, that's on you. Okay.
Not too bad.
His health bar's so odd as well because there's so many parts you can't actually tell like what you're hitting and what you're not, you know?
Yeah, it's really weird. You've got kind of no idea what health he's actually on because every part of him's on different health.
So does this stop then? If we wait on this raft long enough, does it actually stop at a certain point or does it carry on going?
I want to say it does stop.
I'm fairly sure this one...
I think it does.
Does it? Does it stop at this bit here? Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. How odd.
I'm guessing the implication is that somewhere over there is the entrance to mines.
Through this wall here is the mines. It's like platform 9 3/4. This is where it is.
It's really weird. Like you would think they would think, right, we'll put a railing on here, so it's obviously a place where you're going to get off.
Yeah.
A door wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, come on, you've managed to put all of these horrible textures on this raft now, and you can't even put a door in the wall. Like, where are we going here?
Just stuck in the sewers forever. Like, well,
it is definitely like, if it's your first introduction to PSO and you've just killed the dragon, fighting the Role, I think, is such a panic-inducing fight, even though it's a really easy fight. But it's very much like, oh my god, he's here, he's there, he's up in the air, he's shooting lasers. Like, I mean, most of the times now you don't even get to see the laser because you just kill him so quickly.
With Role as well, the scariest thing about doing him is if you do him in challenge mode, because for me, I personally think he's the hardest boss in challenge mode in episode 1.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's got a few attacks that will just kill you if you get hit by them, so you need to be a lot more careful. Like the dragon, I mean, there's not a whole lot the dragon can do, really.
Yeah, no, of course.
By the time you get to Volopton Fault, as long as you've got the right gear, you can pretty much get away with it.
Yeah.
But Darol, there's a couple of things he does that will just end your run if you do it wrong.
Bloody hell.
So
I must admit, that's one thing I've never tried, and I'm a little bit nervous to try it. And challenge mode, yeah, just I think ultimate is definitely enough at this point. I'm actually surprised, but even at 124, the amount of health and resistances I've got, and a lot of it's down to the units and stuff I'm using, but you're still quite squishy, even at level 124, which 124 sounds like a lot, but in comparison to 200, it's a drastically different point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the really weird thing about PSO is that I think at your level, you've got probably most of the gear that you're going to use for the rest of the game now. So you're going to continue using your frozen shooter, your spread needle. You might upgrade that to an S-rank needle later, potentially. You're still going to be using Cannon Rouge, things like that. But your character stats sort of aren't quite there yet. But once you get to, I mean, even at my level at 175, I'm kind of at the point now where my attack power is maxed.
Yeah.
A few of my other stats are maxed. And it's now at a point where I've got 25 levels where I just don't really get much stronger.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Really weird.
And that's like the hardest 25 levels of the game as well. Yeah, that's just insane, because I'm looking at my stats and I can imagine that realistically I'm going to cap out HP without any other upgrades, probably like, what, 1200, maybe 1300 for a Ramar. Is that about right? Maybe a little bit less?
I'm trying to remember now. I did a guide on this as well, but I can't remember what his health max is at now. I think the health's actually pretty good on Remar.
I can't remember how much I get per level, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, it might be a class where like the HP maybe spikes a bit later on, potentially. I mean, for context, I've got about 1400 at the minute, and
Okay.
I'm almost capped.
That's still, well, I suppose 1400 sounds like a lot, but I suppose what a Hugh cast would probably have 1700, 1800, maybe something like that. Is it a little bit more?
They cap over 2000.
Do they? Wow, I'm
Yeah.
so wrong. I'm so wrong. That's insane. Is that with full upgrades or is that without HP material?
That's with like full HP materials. and everything.
Yeah. I mean, even so, that's still incredible, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, my 1400 is also with full HP materials, so
Yeah, that's wild, isn't it? Isn't it crazy that Ultimate is level 80 and then there's nothing else after that? Apart from, obviously, you've got Anguish and stuff, but we're not going to talk about Anguish because that is just painstaking for what it is. Never done it myself, but I've seen videos of that and it just does not seem worth your time putting yourself through that misery.
yeah, it's more just if you want a challenge than anything else. I don't really feel like it's worth doing, to be honest.
No. I mean, realistically, I find the difficulty jump from episode 1 to episode 4 is enough, like,
Yeah.
anyway. Obviously, it has its own challenges depending on what class you're playing, but yeah, it's just wild that there's nothing. Because if you go to not that PSU is a great example, but there is like C, B, A, S, S1, 2, 3, 4, Ultimate. You know, you've got loads of different categories that you can jump through to. Although, actually saying that, a lot of those missions don't particularly scale that well, depending on what level. It'll say, oh, enemy level this, and then you jump in there and you get battered. So yeah, it's just odd that that's it, you know. But it still feels like a challenge. There's never a time where I log on and think, oh god, like I'm absolutely rinsing this.